I'm the bone man, the stone man, the man come to disturb, observe, take your mind and bend it, find your ancestors in another place, displace. Angry, do you know that? They're far away. They're calling on you, white man, to decolonialize your soul, because you came from where I did once upon a time, and you got caught up in science. And you black man, why do you want to be a white man? Hey? Because deep inside, where the bones and stones lie, Gaia screams. Gaia says, you have raped me, and I wanted you to come and make love to me. But you got there with your minds and your big penis intentions, and you fucked me. And you said, that is industry. That is truth. And you came with your armies, and you left children on toxic waste dumps, dying, crying. Oh, the bone man, the stone man has a story to tell about money, plastic, and beans and seeds. And we're going to scatter these. And I ask you, how are you going to heal? How are you going to wheel and deal and groove and move until your soul finds truth? Hear me. Because I speak for, and I speak with, many voices. I'm a dangerous man to know. Very. So come and roll, be like a mole, and come underground where it's sound, and find your soul. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I need my glasses. Now, I promise you, if you engage me as your consultant, I will not pitch up at your door like that. The first time. So, what are we looking at here and what are we talking about is consciousness. And we've heard a lot about different models and different organizational theories, and I've learned some wonderful processes which I certainly want to add to my repertoire as I move and do the things that I do. But I'd like to change and shift the focus this morning and invite you to participate in a healing journey. A healing of yourself, a healing of your institutions, by understanding and starting to embrace the notion of consciousness. What I have behind me there is called a holoprint. It comes out of thin air, and those of you that come to the workshop afterwards, I'll materialize that for you out of thin air. Out of thin air. I'll call that out of the atmosphere. You can too once I show you how. That's the fundamental pattern of life and the basis of all we are and all we do. And when we violate that pattern, Gaia doesn't lose. The universe doesn't really worry too much, because that pattern is more powerful than all of us. It was shown to me by my friend of mine called Bruce Copley. I have multiple identities, as you can see. My one identity is that I'm a father and a lover, much more sexy than a husband. Hey? And I have 4 children, beautiful children, married to a woman I adore. Now, I get all emotional when I think about it. Yeah? And I have a teaching career in higher education, had one in secondary education. I do this work, and I work in the arts. And I think I like to incorporate all of those. So I'm going to try and give you a slice of all of that today and show you how we can integrate and possible paths to integration. So let's take a look at where we're going here. Right, so 4 intentions for things I say and we do here today. by Angeles Arian, a book, The Fourfold Way. I suggest if you haven't read it, it's a wonderful text incorporating indigenous wisdom into contemporary worldview. To show up and be present, I certainly hope I am. To be open but not attached to outcomes. That means I might provoke you. I don't want to make it all smooth and easy, hey? So if I provoke you, don't get attached to the outcome. That means, I think it's bull dust. Huh? But just let it flow. Hold it, let it, think about it for a while. Or don't agree with it so much that you think you found the Messiah. Pay attention to what is heart and meaning. So as we go through this brief discourse, some stuff might touch you at an emotional level, but you don't quite understand why. Well, work with that. Talk to somebody about it. Talk to me about it. Live with it a bit. And meaning, something might tickle you intellectually. Please, my discipline is philosophy, so please, I love, the maps and all that theoretical stuff. Come talk. Love it. And then speak the truth without blame or judgment. When we're not driven by the archetypes, we're not driven by the stuff, our baggage, we are able to do that. And we've had wonderful examples of that as I watched the facilitation happen in this conference. So let's take a look at how this goes. First of all, pain's a good place to start. We all know something's wrong. That says it all. Something's wrong with how we've done business. And there's a shadow in the business world which I'm going to call out loud and clear. That model, business model we have, industrial psychology's roots and military research, pull the backbone out of the competition, get the troops in line. Don't like those metaphors. They spook me. And we talk competition, the ultimate competition is war, where you win or you die. So pain's a good place to start. And then, of course, that's the outside pain. Then there's the inside pain. And discuss, I am pink, therefore I am ham. And when naughty kid in the class says, yes, I know we're pigs, Hawkins, but I don't think I stink, therefore I am, would be more appropriate. Okay. So part of us, all of us, including me, we feel it stinks. Yeah? Let's be real, huh? I lied about a colleague. I have lied about some of my colleagues. I've told stories behind their backs. I've betrayed them. Done all those things. I'm not supposed to say that, We don't do those things. Yeah, we do these things. We do these things in the workplace. I've played to politics. I've pandered to power. Done it all. And we got to own the spot. So this stuff's very painful, and we can run away from it all. But how does it play out? Well, it plays out because of this little thing here. And by the way, in all the stuff I'm presenting today, I've encoded layers and layers of meaning, not just made it ABC simple. So, and my invitation to you is that after the conference, if you want to respond, to those of you that do, you can do it in writing or you can engage me verbally. I have the gift for the person that I believe engages, comes back to me and has decoded some of the stuff that's here. So you can read the stuff in many different levels I'm showing you today, and it's been layered like that deliberately. Because life doesn't come to us on one plane. Never. Best we learn to see the complexity. So this is the human mind. A little game I'm going to play with you very quickly. And this is how the beauty of us, the magnificence of us, and the tragedy of being human. Okay, there's those words there. What I'm going to ask you to do, I'm going to ask you a question. As a group, I'm going to ask you to call out the answer, right? So I buy things at a shop. Okay, call it out together. A thing that stands up is called a? Okay, call it out loud all together. When I spill something, it goes? Okay, if I let something go? Cork comes out of a bottle. And at a green robot eye? At a green robot eye? Stop at green robots. Stop at green robots. That's fundamental metaphor for humanity there. Now, there's a number of psychological processes happening there. There's entrainment, essential consciousness down the rhyming reflex. And when I do that, part of your brain switches off. It's the glory of being human. We can learn all these things. So we're very impressionable. We're very conditionable. That's why we learn. And the system we create around us speaks back and flows back inside of us and changes us, makes us who we are. And do we want to be what we've created? Do we understand our intentionality in that creation? There's some questions. So quickly, a brief overview globally. Now, these are the biggest frames. This is where I spent a lot of my time doing my research. These are the kind of meta frames which hold human consciousness. They're all around today. We live with them all. None is bad or worse than the other. The thing I want to show you with these frames is one, as you move on to the next frame, it dominates the previous frame and has to learn to incorporate it and not crush it, because every frame has a power unique to itself. So pre-modernism, this is our deepest past genetically, and that's the belief that there are some entities, one person, whatever, deities out there, they control our destiny, they can give us truth. And if we just live by that truth, all will be well with our soul. You know, this world's not my home, I'm just a passing through, somewhere, my treasures are laid up somewhere beyond the blue. That stuff. Okay? And it's still around. It also means we have a collective mind. Julian Jaynes wrote a wonderful book called The Breakdown of Consciousness in the Bicameral Mind, and showed quite graphically that for early Greeks, they killed because they believed God was telling them, that God was in their head. And they killed, possessed by the gods. Okay, then modernism came along. That's the scientific mind, empiricism and rationalism. And that's where we start to say, no, there's no gods out there. It's purely about what the mind can do. And the mind is universal. If I can communicate with you, you can understand exactly what I say. And empiricism is the way, is how we take in data through the senses, essentially, and process it. And rationalism is the mathematics, the logical thinking. And this paradigm is very powerful. And for all intents and purposes, it nearly crushed that other paradigm. This paradigm has given us the modern world. And many of the wonderful things we have, many of us would be dead because if it wasn't for that paradigm, because of modern medicine. Postmodernism was the next move. There's one in between called critical modernism, but I don't want to go there. But postmodernism is all about uniqueness and embodiment. It says, no, we might talk languages, but you've grown up in a culture and you're absolutely unique. And I can quickly illustrate this by saying, if you are French and you've grown up as a French-speaking person, or you're African, or you're whatever, there's some things in that culture that another person from another culture will never understand. They can understand cognitively, but you've got to live it. It's got to be deep inside you. Organizational cultures are the same, by the way. And social construction. Postmodernism says that we construct reality in here. And finally, transmodernism or holism is where we are now. All these wonderful big frames, and they run through all our organizations and all of us. So how does this pan out? If you want to develop shamanic consciousness and mindset, story of three Buddhist monks walking in the forest, see a flag. First monk says, hey, look, the flag is moving. Hey, bright guy, eh? It's part of shamanic consciousness. The second guy says, no, come boy. The wind is moving that flag, can't you see? The third one says, no, it's not that. You'll only be truly enlightened when you see it your mind or consciousness that's moving. That's deep, eh? That's deep. So you want to develop the shamanic consciousness. It's about learning to see deeper, learning to read the energy, learning to understand what runs beneath. All consultants do this. We go into organizations and we can suck up a whole bunch of stuff. We seal and we feel stuff. And the more training we have, it's not hocus pocus. So we've trained our perception to do this. Sometimes we're very wrong, by the way. Sometimes we can make catastrophically bad decisions. Yeah? So shamanic work is about soul retrieval. And I would say that if you're a good organizational development consultant or an HR practitioner, you are doing soul retrieval. We can give it another word. We can call it identity formation. And it's on 4 levels. It's about connecting people to the web of life, the total web of life. And we are all caught in this one way or the other. And where we disconnect from that web. It's about understanding ourselves. That's my daughter, Skylar. Love her so much. I wanted to call her Skylar Lila, but my wife said, hey, that sounds like a pole dancer. So it's about understanding ourselves and a deep journey into the self. It's about understanding others. It's about the connection, the interface, the I and thou, and the space in between. And it's about understanding how to take that knowledge and change and dance with the systems. I don't like the word change so much. I prefer integrate. How do we better integrate with the systems we're in? Because if we see it that way, and us not changing it from the outside, we give the responsibility back to ourselves and the system to make the changes. It's about integrating the shadow and the wounding. And lastly, I want to end with this. I'll continue with the rest of it when we meet just now, is that in our organizations, in our lives, we carry this wounds. We carry very many wounds. And these wounds can be beautiful things if we do the journey work. And what is the journey work? It means integrating them. So let me illustrate this. I grew up in a dysfunctional home, very dysfunctional home, had to be rescued from my home by the child welfare. Growing in those homes, what children do, they learn very quickly is to lie. They become competent liars as they negotiate the power that runs in between. Okay? Very competent. So I grew up like that. By the time I was in my 20s, I went for therapy because I realized lying is a constructive way to do your life. And I learned how to tell the truth. But I carry the shadow, and I'm deeply grateful for that wound. Because you see, when somebody lies to me, I expect people not to tell me the immediate truth, the whole truth. I don't say, if you lie to me, I never trust you again. People unpeel slowly, they unwrap slowly. And only when you accept that shadow, when you understand it, you integrate it, will you have compassion as a practitioner to accept and deal with the people you deal with in your organization. I have many friends who are activists. Many of them have not, many of them have not embraced their shadow. They're screaming and yelling and condemning millions of people who are working in these corporates, who are trying their damnedest to do what they do, and who feel bad sometimes about the destruction, but don't know how to unpluck themselves from this web. And I'm telling you, some of those activists would do the same thing, because they haven't incorporated the shadow. So it's about developing this type of consciousness, is about opening yourself up to the system. Becoming, as my one friend says, begin to soften yourself and feel like an aspirin dissolved in water. Allow stuff to penetrate you and move in. Hard for the male psyche. Those of us who do it as men are very lucky that we got really buggered up at some stage, so we softened up. We don't have to be mature. Okay? To allow this to happen. And then it's to let go of the hero. Sometimes I want to vomit when I hear about another leadership conference. Because what I see is leadership, most leadership conferences endorsing one form or another of patriarchy, or parent and child. You're going to be a leader, and then you're going to tell people what to do and fix all their problems and take it all away. And there's a voice now which is coming through, which is talking about virtual leadership and taking responsibility. But that patriarchal model is a heroic model. A part of the work for us as OD practitioners is to let go of the hero motif. Yeah, we need heroes sometimes, but heroes get killed, and we only need heroes because systems are dysfunctional. When systems are functional, you don't need heroes. Okay, so lastly, or quickly end up with this, so let me just make it really practical right at the end. The shaman develops awareness. That's what the OD practitioner develops. The shaman's work is soul retrieval. You're engaged in the process of identity formation and helping people find their identities, access to tribal wisdom, access to knowledge and organizational design processes, social, spiritual, material integration, survival of the tribe, social, psychological, material growth of the organization. Awareness, there were deep systemic knowledge and soul retrieval and identity formation. Once my close friend of mine as a consultant asked me, John, what do you sell? I said, yeah, I gave him all the stuff, the maps, the models and everything, the processes. He said, no, you don't. You sell an energy field. You sell an energy field. You share a space. You sell a space in which people can come and learn and grow and engage. That thing I showed you, and we'll deal with it more in the group, is everywhere. There's the Grand Canyon. Neurons, trees, human breast tissue, crater on Mars. I want us to decompress quickly after that, quick roadshow, and to change focus. So I'm going to invite you quickly to stand up. I'm going to invite you to do the ghost dance with me quickly, just to blow it all away. I said some very dense stuff and it needs to integrate. You go like this, you go chaboom, chaboom, yada, yada, yada. Then we go chaboom, chaboom, yada, yada, yada. And then we go life is but a dream, sweetheart. But I want it with lots of okay, so we go 1, 2, 3. Chaboom, chaboom, ya, yada, yada, ya, cha cha chaboom, chaboom, oh, yada, yada, ya, cha cha chaboom, chaboom, oh, yada, yada, ya. Life is but a dream, sweetheart. Yeah.